Very, very happy to see you again, and welcome if this is your first time in the Rescogita's podcast channel. Rescogita, the ecological startup that aims to have an impact on individuals, on society, and on the biosphere. So remember to follow us on www.rescogita.academy. Now, sit back, relax, enjoy. Welcome to the first of 6 episodes of this Rescogita series on values and discovering the spiral dynamics. My name is Lorenzo Nava, and today we will start by identifying what are values. When we talk about values, we immediately associate the word principles. And imagine something immovable or even a dogma. Nothing more further from reality. Every new generation of young people, anywhere across the planet, since the dawn of times, needs to cope with the older generation, accusing them of having no values and no principles. Of course, unlike them from the other generation. And when they were younger, the elders told them the same thing over and over and over again. Yet, the world has changed, perhaps at a faster pace than before in history. And alongside that, social structures change just as speedily. And so have changed the set of values, which can't be recognized by the older generation who grew up often believing in something else and fail now to see the new set of values of the current generation. So, what if we tell you that values actually are nothing else and nothing more than just needs? Nothing more, nothing less. If you look at it as a linguist would, then the word value actually means to what we give value. Or another way of seeing this is, what do we actually need? Try to imagine now, hypothetically, try to imagine a grandmother who has survived and lived through wars and crises. She would probably develop a set of values which can, hypothetically, take shape around religion, God as the embodiment of hope, justice, and of a reward for the enduring unfortunate souls facing the struggles of life. Possibly patriotism as well can be one of the values, the flag, the national emblems, identity, history, something to be proud of, as well as seeing and witnessing so many giving up their lives for the sake of the land and flag in acts of heroism. Family, too, may well be one of the core values of this hypothetical grandmother. The nucleus of support, love, the unconditional union that would allow siblings, children, and parents also to survive through hard times by helping each other. Now, let's have a look at the hypothetical grandchild of this lady. A young girl, let's say, who has not lived nor endured the crisis times and wars that a grandmother has lived on her skin. A girl who is active online and has access to a lot of information. More like a global citizen, speaking languages, being able to afford to travel. An ambitious young person who rather believe in herself rather than a superior being. Their environment and immediate needs created different sets of values. This results in an obvious intergenerational conflict. So the grandmother is trying to pass her the values of family, God, and motherland to a teenager for whom many of these words have absolutely no meaning at all. This also leads to a second conflict, rather an internal one, within the young girl. She's unable to see herself fitting in this system of values, which are passed down by an education system constructed by the previous generation, and yet can't find her space and place, as nobody of the wiser actually addresses her actual needs, or even recognizes that she has a perfectly valid and strong value system. It was back in the 60s when an American psychology professor from the United States, Claire W. Graves, yes, Claire is a he, as a male name, was struggling with the same question above. He was on the brink of resigning from his career because when his students asked him, of all the psychological theories and models existing, which one is the best and most applicable? He did not have an answer. And that is how he started to formulate his, what he called, the theory of everything, or today known as spiral dynamics. Dr. Graves and his team interviewed thousands of people asking one single question. Give me your definition of a mature person. The diversity of answers that he received helped him categorize humanity into 7, potentially 8 value systems. He came up with a definition of value himself. According to Dr. Graves, values take shape in the environment where we are. And those values that we develop are our coping systems to those circumstances. As simple as that. Take the above example of the old lady and a granddaughter. They grew up in completely different environments. The elder lived in an environment where collectiveness was the key to survival in hard times. Therefore, valued collective ideals of group identity, as can be religion or patriotism. On the other hand, the youngster, the grandchild, is growing in an environment that fosters individualism, ambition, consumerism, and other stuff. And of course, she ends up adopting the values that will help her to cope with this world here and now. And in turn, when one day she will be a grandmother, she will probably face the same issues and conflicts with her own granddaughter. As the world and its societies may very well be quite different from today. Let's say 50 years in the future. Now, that does not mean that the values are completely upturned and elimination of the previous one. For example, the meaning of religion for the grandmother as community and moral laws for a granddaughter becomes something for spiritualism and self-growth, just as an example. Just be careful with one thing. Yes, there are the 7 sets of values, and Graves was especially clear in stressing that there is not a hierarchy. No system is better than the other. Each is the right system for the right environment. Another warning is that this is not a tool to brand and categorize people. People are complex, are made of many, many different aspects. Therefore, even though all have a dominant value system, different value systems can be applied to different areas of life. Certain values affect family life, others affect business, others relationships, others self-help, and so on and so forth. So that's it for today. We would like to thank you very much for being with us and looking forward to hear your thoughts and impressions on this podcast. You are more than welcome to follow Rescogita on Facebook, on LinkedIn, YouTube, and of course our website, www.rescogita.academy. Next week, we're going to start our journey into spiral dynamics. Thank you once more, and please do take very good care of yourself. Goodbye.